Good morning to all those of you who've returned to the OIGuy.com slideshow. This week we are focusing once again on the side benefits of having OI that don't have to deal with breaking bones. Today we're going to focus in on the second of a series that we're dealing with the cardiac system. We're going to overlap a little from last week just in case you missed part of it, but let's start off with the aortic valve regurgitation. Your doctors are mostly going to say leaky valve. The aortic valve may not close as tightly as it normally would, and this is going to allow blood to start flowing backwards into the heart. Basically means your heart's got to do twice as much work every time it pumps. It puts through its original series of blood, and then it's got to go back through and push through what it already pushed through that came back. Number three is the aortic root dilation. This was actually brought up recently in a conversation. The gentleman spoke up and said, "Hey, I'm going to start lifting weights. Is there anything I need to watch out for?" Somebody from the crowd immediately stepped forward and said, "Well, we do have some cardiac issues, and here's one that you might want to watch for." I didn't spell it out in medical terminology, but he was focused on the aortic root dilation, and probably because this is the classic cardiovascular finding that shows up in most OI-based literature. The symptoms early on usually don't exist, which is kind of what makes it such a thing to miss. But the bottom line is that the juncture where the aorta connects back to the heart is not built as strongly as in most folks, and therefore it can expand or even sometimes rupture. The red flags that you want to look out for here are sudden chest pains, unexplained shortness of breath, or a sudden severe sharp pain. You get to that part and it's an immediate, "Hey guys, let's go to the hospital. It's time. Let's not stop. No drive-throughs." Number four is the arterial fibrillation and the other arterial arrhythmias. Wow, I said that with a straight face. This is kind of new to the literature with OI patients. It's something that happens in general to the population, but they're finding it showing up more and more in OI patients, and they're tracing that back to the poor volume or poor quality of collagen in the linings. Some of the things to look for are fluttering heartbeats, skipped heartbeats, racing pulse, fatigue, dizziness, and of course, reduced stamina in just about everything. One of the constants you're going to see through these cardiac issues is something that I don't want to harp on, but really should be, and that is you find yourself feeling worse after exercise or exertion. Basically, what we're trying to say is if you don't have an exercise program, ring up Tony J and say, "Hey, what are you working on currently?" He's been a great mentor for a lot of folks here in the community, and he wants to show people how to exercise and how to lift weights properly. Short and simple. Do it slowly, almost embarrassingly slowly, and that is heart failure. Essentially, it just stops doing what it should be doing. And of course, the issues to look out for are breathlessness, reduced exercise tolerance. See, we were just talking about that. Swelling in the legs, that's a huge one. That actually can be an indicator of a lot of different issues, but in our case, that's something that you want to look for and trace straight back to the big muscle, your heart. However, when you combine swelling in the legs with lying flat and having problems lying flat, that's when you know you've got a combination where you need to talk to the doctor pretty quickly. And of course, fatigue. Fatigue is always a bad thing, and I know with some of us, it's hard to determine what could be cardio-based fatigue and what could just be my body's beat up and I'm worn out fatigue. I know. That's why we need to go and talk to your doctor about getting a baseline cardiac study. I don't care how old you are. My son, 20 years old, just went and had his first in a series of baseline measurements so that when we look back, whether it's 5 months or 5 years from now, we can point to this and say, well, as a 20-year-old, this probably was where he was at his healthiest. And if it wasn't where he was at his healthiest, well, then we can show a definite improvement. That's it for part 2. Tune in a couple days from now, maybe next week, and check out part 3 in our issues of cardiac awareness and osteogenesis. Thanks, guys. Live a great life.